Now, a garden overhaul can be a very scary task, even for the most green-fingered of you. I won't include myself in that lot. Now, Grasshopper Landscape Services can take the stress out of the equation, and its founder, Sinead Finn, joins us in the studio to tell us more. Sinead, you're very welcome indeed.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Is this a good time of the year to be planning your garden change?
Well, actually, it's the perfect time. I know with the weather we've had the last couple of weeks, people mightn't be thinking of the garden and don't even want to go out into the garden, but actually now is the perfect time to get your garden ready for use during the summer. Right. So if you've any changes that you want to implement or you want to redesign the whole space, if you start now, you'll have it ready to use then when the sun actually does come out.
Okay, the steps to take. I'm thinking, maybe I'd like to change my garden. I ring you and you come along. Garden busters. What happens next?
Well, most people I meet, when they start, they always say, I'm looking out on this green space, from my window or my door, and I know I want to change it in some way to make it more usable or to make it look nicer, but I really don't know where to start or how to begin at all. So I always say we start by actually just making out a list, really, of what you want to include in your garden. The list can be made up of like your necessities, which is like your shed, washing line. If you have, pets, it might be a dog run. With kids, you might want, trampoline, or very, they're a popular item, and
good thinking, yeah.
Swing sets, things like that.
Yeah.
And then, like the indulgences would be water features, a pergola or gazebo. So you kind of put that all together and try and, I suppose, lean to the practical, what you can feasibly put in the space.
Okay.
I was talking to one lady, and she sat the whole family down, to see what they wanted to put in, and her 8-year-old daughter wanted a heating swimming pool in the back of like an urban garden in Dublin, which chances of including it were quite slim. So once you have that list, it kind of helps focus your mind as to what exactly you want to implement. And
then you compare your aspirations to your budget, I suppose?
Yeah, well, that usually you have to have the list in some way, because you'll always want more than you can include. So the budget you want to spend will narrow it down. And then what kind of the actual size of the space you have, and the aspect of your garden, how it, does it get sun an awful lot, or is it in shade for half the day? Your soil type, and just kind of the natural maybe ground slope and things, the way the garden is sloping, that will kind of dictate what you can put in as well.
Yeah, I think people are getting more and more conscious of, different garden themes and seeing award-winning ones, on the television, Dermot Gavin or whatever. Are there kind of in themes at the moment?
Well, there's always styles, and I suppose certain styles will come and go, and there's loads of different ones, but I suppose I'd always pick out 3 just to kind of introduce, people mightn't be familiar with garden styles. So, like one of the main ones would be a formal style, which there's you'd see it's very symmetrical in design, and like that's a chateau there in the Loire Valley in France. So
I thought it was my house. No.
You have very straight lines,
yes,
balanced on either side, really, the garden, repeating elements, and a very restricted plant palette. You're only talking maybe 4 different varieties of plants.
Right. So you could rob that theme for a normal size house, could you?
You could say, like, that's a very high example of formality, but you could rob a bit of that and implement it.
Yeah.
So another style then would be the opposite, which is informal. So here you're talking about kind of a less manicured look. You're letting the plants have their own form.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see there, like the plants are kind of tumbling over the path. You've a bit of a curve, and there's actually like planting in the actual path itself, which would actually be like sacrilege in a formal garden. So that's, it might be a little bit more low maintenance then.
Yeah.
And then a third style is what I term kind of modern, which is like a combination of the first 2. So you have like straight lines, but they're softened by the planting, say, on either side. And then you'd have like your integrated seat and your coloured render, which brightens it and gives it a bit of a modern look.
And you can do a lot even with the smallest garden, really, can't you?
That's the thing. If you can balance all your elements together, you should be able to, fit quite a lot into a small space, but not overwhelm it. It doesn't look too busy, I suppose.
Yeah, but you think, and you would say yes to this, I suppose, that it's essential to have a designer on board.
Well, I would, but genuinely, I do think just because, designers are trained, and from their experience, they have the knack of combining what you want into the space that you have and it looks like a unified garden. It's not a kind of disjointed elements. And the other thing as well is their plant knowledge. Like they'll specify plants for you that are specifically for your garden, that'll suit it, that'll, thrive in it. And it'll ensure the health then of the garden, going forward through the years.
When I did mine a few years ago, when her indoors, she who must be a babe did it, we went down to the National Garden Centre down in Wicklow.
Excellent.
For inspiration. And that's a good idea, isn't it? To see
it is, yeah. Just to go, and even just a garden centre, see what's in flower, a particular type of year. And then, any of the gardens that are open to the public, you can go through them. And little ideas, take a notebook with you and a camera, just take photos of things that you like, and you can be thinking about how you could implement it in your own garden.
Yeah, you say it's a good time to start the planning now. How long does the whole process usually take?
Well, if you have done the work beforehand, you have your list, you know what kind of style, you could do it within, 2 months even. You could have it all done, dusted out of the way, go through the whole process quite quickly. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer just to go from the garden designer, you would get, your concept first, which is like a draft, I suppose, of the master plan. And you can change the concept a little bit. And then the designer will draw up the master plan from that, which is what you will actually implement in the garden.
Okay. And I suppose there's no point in us crunching numbers because it's how long is a piece of string, really, depending on how much work you get done.
Yeah, that. Really, the cost will depend on what you want to do. Your paving material, what type you want, the type of planting. So all of that will impact on your budget. But that's the other, I suppose, advantage of a designer as well, that if you say you have a type of budget that you want to stick to, they'll try and, cater for that.
Any deals getting done at all these days? Any old deals at all?
Well, we have good deals on our website, grasshopperservices.ie. So you'd be able to see our prices there up front, and then throughout the year we'll be doing special offers, Jimmy. So you can keep looking at us.
And do you send the buzz around via Facebook and Twitter and all these things?
We're on Facebook and Twitter as well. So any special offers we have will be going up there too.
Okay, well, you certainly seem to be a lady who knows her stuff anyway. I'd certainly trust
hope
you
so.
with blades of grass at the back. And I have to say, having had it done, you actually develop a literal room outside.
That's the thing. I think the room outside comparison is good because you will use it more if it's well designed. The other thing, though, I'd always say it's nearly better than a room because the things that you put in it, like plants, they'll actually grow and change and with the seasons. So
indeed.
You get more enjoyment from
the birds coming to feed, and you'll be putting
your
feet up in the summer if you start now. Yeah. Well, listen, Sinead, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
Very elucidating indeed. Some great advice for anyone thinking of making changes to your garden this year. Now, for any information that you want on that, any gardening tips, any discounts maybe, competition offers mentioned by Sinead, then go to www.grasshopperservices.ie, or you can ring 01867 3023. Simple as that.